After the Batman premiered to a pretty darn good box office opening, a lot of eyes were on the type of hold it would have. Because although we've seen movies come and make a big splash the first weekend, it's usually that second weekend that indicates, one, how well word of mouth was. Did people feel like it was a good movie? Did they tell their friends about it? Or did they even go see it a second time? And the good news for Warner Brothers and for Robert Pattinson's The Batman is the hold was really good for the second week. And I myself was wondering, because even though I really liked the movie, if you've seen my review, you would actually know I liked this movie, despite what you may have heard on Twitter or somewhere else on the internet. I thought it was good, but I was really curious with the runtime, with how dark it was. I was curious as how well it's going to continue to do in the box office. Will it continue this climb? And it looks like it certainly will. The Batman climbs to 238 million plus in the US today after super second weekend hold. Eyes $500 million worldwide this week. To put that in perspective, this movie cost $200 million to make, which means it's pretty easy to calculate the break even. It's right around $500 million when you factor in marketing, when you factor in the theater's cut and all of that. So for it to be flirting with $500 million by the end of this weekend, after you factor in everything internationally that'll come in, that means it's already basically made its money back, which is huge. A far cry from basically every other Marvel movie we saw last year, with the exception of Spider-Man No Way Home. And when you look at this number, $66 million domestically, only a drop of 51%. That is huge. Like, it's almost hard to comprehend a movie that opened as big as Batman did, holding that well. When you look at Spider-Man No Way Home, even though that made money for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, it still had like a 68, 69% drop off just because it was so highly anticipated. So what this says is that what we're seeing from the reviews, both from the critics and the audience, now audience is down about 89%. It's positive enough to have a lot of people continue to go to this movie. And it's definitely good news for the Batman. That's positive for me in general, because regardless of whether you liked the Batman or not, you can't deny that it's different from a lot of Marvel movies, the Marvel formula that they've been going with the past decade. And the fact that people do seem to be very receptive to something different, I think, regardless of whether you liked it or not, is good news. Because I, for one, am getting really fucking tired of Marvel just trying to do the same thing over and over and over again. And with the Batman, it definitely was not a movie like that. I liked it. Some people despised it. I thought it was a good movie. It looks like it's got audiences engaged enough for a really good hold in this second weekend at the box office. Thanks for watching, everyone. And a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.